Everybody okay? Everybody well? Healthy and strong? All the children say, hey. All right, we're here for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Empress Golding. I will be your minister of ceremony, your master of ceremony, your host, your MC, your guide, anything you need me to do for you today, I'll be happy to do it. But I'm not going to do it yet. We're going to start in about 10 minutes. We are waiting on the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton. You know they're always late, right? Did I say that? I did. Speak the truth. Speak it always. Right, kids? He's 1 minute away? Oh, no, wait. But we have the state minister, the beautiful Juliet Cuthbert Flynn in the building, and she's on time. Let's give it up for her. Woo! Yes, minister, you get an A today, right, children? Yes, the state minister represents the ministry, so he'll get an A minus. So we're just going to wait a few minutes for him to arrive because we don't want him to miss out on all the goodness that is on offer today as we look at a healthier nation and a healthier future for our children. So get to know the person next to you. Grab a quick cup of coffee or some cucumber-flavored water, and we'll start in a minute. Cucumber or cucumber? Which one? Cucumber? Tomato or tomato? Okay. Because I've lived in 3 countries, so sometimes I like to just check with my audience which one you prefer. So cucumber, right? Or cucumber? Cucumber. I love them, you see? All right, we're going to start in a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for our national anthem. You may be seated. What a beautiful anthem. Jamaica land we love. Let's say that together. After three, Jamaica land we love. 1, 2, 3. Jamaica land we love. That's right. And that's why we are all here today as stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Empress Golding, and as I said earlier before we started officially, I will be your master of ceremony, your minister of ceremony, or whatever you need me to be. Multi-talented, multifaceted. Just call on me. You with me? Can we acknowledge our children again? All the children say yeah. I want to acknowledge the State Minister in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, MP, the Honorable Juliet Cuthbert Flynn. Nice to see you, lady. You got a lot of work to do after today. Yeah, we're going to hold you accountable. All right? Our State Minister, to make sure that we have a healthy nutrition for all of our children everywhere. All of the stakeholders, welcome. Mrs. Deborah Chen, Executive Director of Jamaica. Every one of you will be acknowledged when I call you up, all right? There's so many distinguished ladies and gentlemen here today, and you'll be sure to hear their names, all stakeholders for our children. Welcome, and thank you for joining us in person and online for the launch of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica's Out of Our Schools mass media campaign. It's not just a campaign, my people, but it is a call to action. Can we say action? Sometimes we have great ideas, but we don't execute. And today, it's about action. As it continues to increase the public's awareness about the health harms of unhealthy foods and beverages, like diabetes, say no. Heart disease, say no. Hypertension, say no. The campaign also encourages support for the implementation of a comprehensive healthy school nutrition policy in Jamaica land we love. This is against the background that 80% of deaths in the country are caused by non-communicable diseases, and more than 23% of our children aged 13 to 17 are overweight or obese. The Heart Foundation of Jamaica and you, our partners, strongly believe a policy that includes the removal of unhealthy foods and drinks from the school environment will help to significantly reduce NCD burden in the country, starting with providing a healthy school environment for our education. So that's why we're here today. And it means a lot to me because I'm a mom of two. I have a 5-year-old and I have a 10-year-old. And from my children were in preschool, the lunch pan looked like this: raw carrots. Yeah, and that was really their favorite snack. And then they started to adapt to the culture of, that's not a snack, Mom. Yes, your lunch pan is full of fruits and they're snacks. No, Mom, and the snacks were all the unhealthy foods because that's what they saw their friends eating and they felt that they were out. Yeah? Kids want to belong. Kids want to fit in. So we have to change the culture. And so when I talk about what education is, this is the education that we need for our nation. And we have to get radical about it. Because I don't know how many of you, right, are going to end up with diabetes, hypertension, or whatever else there is. I'd hope it's not you, but it could be. And then there's some of us, and like myself, who has to now look after their parent who has not just stage 4 cancer, but the worst diabetes ever. And so it becomes a burden on us financially, emotionally, right? So it's a hard road to trod if we don't fix it now for our children. So it means a lot to me to be here with you advocating and coming together and putting hearts and minds together to see how we can radically bring the change that we need. And education does start in the home. Big up Dr. Casey Carr. Is it Doctor? Dr. Carr? On the way, right? I know something. See, I knew something was coming. Dr. Carr, National Parenting Commission. We have a lot of work to do to educate our parents what to put in the lunch pan. So I'm so happy to see you here. So my people, that's why we're here, to continue to call for the implementation of a healthy school nutrition policy to help protect our children's health. Big up all the co-branding partners. Teamwork makes the dream work. The Ministry of Education and Youth, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, the UNICEF family. Hello, Vicente. How are you? Caribbean, that's UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund. Let me get these acronyms right, because sometimes you hear, the acronyms confuse me sometimes, right? Right? We live in the acronym world, so I have to make sure you understand what the acronym is. Caribbean Institute for Health Research, CAIHR. We also have the Jamaica Association of Professionals in Nutrition and Dietetics. That's a Japanad. Yeah, I like it. Not Japan, Japanad. The Medical Association of Jamaica, MAJ family in the building, the Madge family. And we have the Pediatric Association of Jamaica in the building. That's right. We have Dr. Natalie McNeil Beecher. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to just make sure you all know where we are to plug in online, because we have to have the digital education and sharing of this campaign as well. So make sure you follow us on all social media pages, the Heart Foundation, JA. All right? And the Heart Foundation, ja.org, is the website if you need more information about the campaign and the campaign materials. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have to give thanks for life. We have an opportunity to advocate, to have impact in our country, Jamaica land we love. And just yesterday, I nearly lost one of my talk-up youth, which is my social enterprise, one of my young persons, because they tried to steal his car at gunpoint. And thank God, he narrowly escaped, but he made it. So let's give thanks for the fact that we are all here. We all woke up. Some people wake up dead, meaning no life, no mission, no purpose, or they actually don't wake up, right? And we are here today with opportunity. So let's give thanks for that. And let's invite Mrs. Shelley Gay, all right, Gorithers, administrator. That's what I said. Y'all need to get your ears checked. Is there a doctor here? Gorithers. I need glasses, that's why. Miss Cuthbert, lend me your glasses, please. Administrative Assistant, Global Health Advocacy Project for the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. There you are. You're going to bless us, right? Yes. Say amen. Amen. And if you're not a Christian, just say, give thanks, my lady.
Thank you, Mrs. Golding, and let us pray. Almighty God, we come to you this morning giving you thanks for this a new day, giving you thanks for this opportunity to be here together as partners, to be here together as Jamaicans, to think about how we can make our life here in this little island so much better. We pray, Almighty God, that you will be in the midst of all that is taking place today, and that you will guide us, and that at the end of this, the best decision will be made with the best intention for our children and ourselves. We ask that you go before us and continue to be our guide. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. Shelley Gay Carithers with a C. Get it right, okay? Don't make that mistake again. Ladies and gentlemen, and now the lady on the front line of the advocacy, a lady I admire and have had the privilege to interview thousands of times. Let's not exaggerate, about 5 times. Mrs. Deborah Chen, Executive Director of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, will deliver the opening remarks. That's right, cheer her on.
Thank you so much, Empress. I just love your energy and I love the red top. As we all know, it's Heart Month. Do your part, check your heart. That's our theme. So today I would just like to welcome everybody to this, our press launch, and we have some very special guests. Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Gillette Cuthbertson, thank you so much for being with us. Mr. Vicente Terran, the Acting UNICEF Country Coordinator. Dr. Natalie McNeil Beecher, President of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica, who we know is a very strong partner in this cause. And of course, Minister Tufton, welcome. We're so happy that you could join us, Minister of Health and Wellness. And our other partners, stakeholders, students, and supporters, those who are present in the room and those who are joining us on Zoom. We are live streaming. Good morning. Let me take this opportunity to welcome everyone to the launch of our mass media campaign, which focuses on supporting the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Education and Youth in their effort to create healthier school environments, of which the National School Nutritional Policy plays a vital role. Both inside and outside the school gates, our children are exposed to snacks, juices, and confectionery, foods high in sugar, sodium, and fat. Consistent evidence has linked ultra-processed food intake to excess body fat, overweight, and obesity in adults and children. According to UNICEF Childhood Overweight Report for Latin America and the Caribbean, 30.9% of Jamaican children and adolescents aged 5 to 19 are overweight. It is therefore important that the school environment reflects support for a healthy diet. Long gone are the days when non-communicable diseases such as hypertension and type 2 diabetes are viewed as all people diseases. You just have to ask pediatricians who are lamenting that they are now seeing these diseases in their office, and this is a great cause for concern. There is a direct correlation between the food our children eat and the health of our nation. Echoes of "let children be children," because we did the same thing as children and nothing never do it, are gone. The Jamaica Health and Lifestyle Survey shows that the prevalence of hypertension in persons 15 and over moved from 20.9% in 2000 to 31.5% in 2018, and 1 in 2 in Jamaicans, that is every other person, are classified as overweight. In 2011, 79% of premature deaths were attributable to non-communicable diseases. Jamaica's high rate of NCDs is driven by dramatic increases in modifiable risk factors that cause NCDs. I really shudder to think what the next health and lifestyle survey is going to show, given that everything is moving in the wrong direction. And we had COVID, where there was a period of inactivity and more likely, eating more than we should have at that time. Unhealthy diets not only impact the learning abilities of our children, it also affects their psychosocial development. Therefore, the notion that children can eat whatever they want with little or no consequence is outdated. Unhealthy lifestyle practices developed in childhood, for the most part, continue to adulthood. The time to act is now. We all need to play a part and continue to advocate for the finalization, approval, and implementation of our school nutrition policy, because our children's lives depend on it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Director of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. So we have work to do, and we got to start at home. How many of your kids are overweight and obese? Put your hand up if your kids are overweight. Because it starts at home. Remember what I said, where does education begin? At home. Some alarming statistics there. And I know we're going to get the bad food out of our schools. Right? Action, as we said at the beginning. All right, Dr. Kingston, you're here. Thank you so much. Representing the Honorable Favor Williams, MP, Minister of Education and Youth. So let's welcome her as well as Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton. All right, we got work to do. But the good thing is, guess what? Guess what, leaders? You have us. We have us to help advocate for the change that you want. So it's a good day. Everybody say it's a good day. That's kids, say it's a good day. All right. God, I love the children. Talking about children, one of my favorite agencies, and I've been working with UNICEF with my social enterprise Talk Up Youth for over a good 15 years. And I always like to bring Vicente Tehran to the platform because I love me some UNICEF and the work that they're doing, and the reports that we've seen really assist us in making these decisions at on a policy level and in our homes. And Vicente and I are football parents, so welcome the football daddy, but not in that capacity today. As the acting UNICEF country rep, we welcome him to bring greetings. Vicente Tehran.
Thank you very much to the moderator and, of course, good friend of the UNICEF family, and also we share football football team too. So thank you very much, Minister Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton, Ministry of Health and Wellness, Minister the Honorable Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, Ministry of Health and Wellness. Dr. Kassan Troop, Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education and Youth. Dr. Serene Joseph, Advisor Health Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control from PAHO. Dr. Brian, President of the Medical Association of Jamaica. Dr. Natalie McNeil Beecher, President of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica. Ms. Shanique Rose, President of the Jamaica Association of Professionals in Nutrition and Dietetics. Dr. Suzette Suarez-Winter, Clinical Nutritionist, Caribbean Institute for Health and Research. Ms. Deborah Chen, Executive Director of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, and thank you for allowing us to be part of this launch. Fellow staff members of UNICEF who are working so hard on nutrition policies and programs. Other distinguished guests and friends, and especially children, who are the main reason why we are all here today. Good morning and greetings on behalf of UNICEF Country Office in Jamaica. Morning. Okay. We are very pleased to join the Heart Foundation and partners for the launch of this important, timely mass media campaign to advocate for healthier school food environments and support to take out unhealthy foods from our schools, the main theme of the campaign. UNICEF Jamaica prioritize nutrition as a critical component of every child's right to the highest attainable standard of health. It was more than 30 years ago that the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child established that children and adolescents should be guaranteed nutritious, sufficient, accessible, and safe food to help them stay healthy as part of their right to health. While we have made some gains in protecting and fulfilling these rights, our children are still continuously vulnerable to the impacts of the unhealthy food environments and continue to face barriers to making healthy food choices. Our current school food environment continues to promote unhealthy eating with high exposure to ultra-processed foods. There is the pervasive and unregulated marketing of unhealthy foods for children. Food labeling is also inadequate, complicated, or absent. When we displace nutritious foods from our diet and consume ultra-processed foods high in unhealthy fat, sugar, and sodium, this practice is a key contributor to the growing health crisis of childhood and obesity and non-communicable diseases. More than 3/4 of our students get their lunch from school canteens, tuck shops, or vendors in the school food environment. The food environment in and around the schools, therefore, provide us with an opportunity to address these challenges. UNICEF supports the implementation of comprehensive healthy school nutrition policies and programs that not only restrict the availability and marketing of unhealthy foods, but also encourages the consumption of adequate nutritious foods, provides nutrition education, health promotion, and health services, and create links to farmers and school gardens to incorporate more local produce in school menus. Aligned policies, such as the octagonal shape of package warning labels, will help administrators, parents, and students identify healthier foods for sale and consumption in schools. We applaud the significant and commendable work of the Ministry of Education and Youth, as well as the Ministry of Health and Wellness in their efforts to restrict the consumption of sugary drinks in schools and to produce a draft school nutrition policy. We have worked, UNICEF, closely with both ministries to advance the draft of the National School Nutrition Policy and other aligned programs such as Jamaica Moves in Schools. While we join our partners in support of healthy school nutrition policies, we must also highlight the voice of our young people with the results of our most recent U Report poll that shows that 95% of young people polled agree that ensuring proper nutrition in its schools should be a priority for the government, and 80% would support a policy that bans unhealthy food and drink in schools. For our children and adolescents to grow, develop, and thrive, we must act urgently and decisively, redoubling our efforts to address malnutrition in all its forms by implementing policies that guarantee equitable access to adequate nutrition, focusing on the most vulnerable in our population. UNICEF looks forward to a healthier food environment that protects and respects children's rights and makes it easier for families to choose healthier foods. We acknowledge that this will take much effort and commitment from all of us, parents, students, school, government, academia, private sector, civil society, and others. With this campaign, let's move forward together as a society to improve systems now, to help our children realize the rights to good health and nutrition, with the hope of a healthier future for all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicente. We're going to tape this on for our next speaker. We saw Vicente was struggling with this microphone. You saw him? He's like, Jesus, I can't turn my paper. Lord help me. So we're going to fix it, right? There we go. There we go. All right. Thank you again, Vicente. It's going to be a long journey, but we're going to do it for our children. Over the next 5 years, the government will be reducing the amount of sugar allowed in sugar-sweetened beverages sold in schools. Our children are sweet enough. I love that message. So help the government of Jamaica keep our children healthy. And talking about why we need to do this, let's speak more to the experts. To bring greetings now, Dr. Natalie McNeil Beecher, President of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica, will tell us why we're killing our children. And we're not going to do it. We're going to get all this unhealthy food out of the schools. Everybody say yes. All right. Out of our schools. Tell us why, dog. Why?
Good morning. Thank you, Empress. Thanks to the organizers for affording me this opportunity to speak. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Christopher Tufton, Dr. Kassan Troop, Acting Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education and Youth, represented the Honorable Favour Williams, Mr. Vincentia Teran, UNICEF Country Representative, Mrs. Deborah Chen, Executive Director, Heart Foundation of Jamaica, members of the Global Health Advocacy Project, distinguished guests and specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor to bring greetings on behalf of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica, a small group of pediatricians and affiliated health professionals. One of the mandates of the association is that we must advocate for policies that will impact the well-being of the nation's children. As adults and parents, we want to leave a legacy for our children. What is that legacy, I ask? What if you could ensure them health and long life? Nutrition is most certainly one of the most important pathways to health. It is well recognized that good nutrition serves as a preventative measure for non-communicable diseases. In the Caribbean, the prevalence of obesity in the pediatric population is well documented. The World Health Organization estimates that 36% of adolescents aged 13 to 15 years are obese or overweight. Of this number, an unpublished study states that the incidence of childhood hypertension is quite significant. Numerous studies have clearly documented that obesity is a harbinger to the many non-communicable diseases we see. By improving our children's nutrition and health, we will improve the health of adults and the nation as a whole in the long term. Show of hands today. How many of you have school-age children? Nobody? Okay. So my question to you, what did they have for breakfast this morning?
Sorry, husband cooked, I was in bed.
Okay. Good answer. How many of you know what they will have for lunch or what their snacks will be? Have we all been exposed to, but teacher says, the law of the land? Children spend most of their time in schools. School often influences the decisions they make. The lifestyle habits and practices initiated in schools are very often adapted and form a framework for habits and practices in adulthood. What better place then to expose the nation's children to good nutrition and healthy lifestyle practices? If we are able to teach our children about good nutrition, the importance of a balanced diet and exercise, and reinforce these lessons, this will impact the practices in the home. Partnerships forged with the school community, parents, civil society, and the community at large will no doubt have great benefits. We are aware that there are vulnerable families who struggle with food security. A school-based feeding program will support these vulnerable children. We look forward to the provision of a well-balanced diet, nutritious, being provided to all these students. We know that the provision of a healthy, balanced diet will enhance their ability to learn and break the cycle of poverty. We need to limit the access to foods of poor nutritional value to our children and create a healthy zones in and around our schools. The benefits of physical activity in children are well documented. It improves focus, builds strong, healthy bodies, reduces the risk of obesity, reduces anxiety, depression, improves social and problem skill solving, all of which are important in a child's development. The need for an appropriate space or spaces that incorporate physical health and education and activity breaks in the school curriculum is a welcome initiative. The need for policies to protect our children are great. We recognize and applaud the removal of sugary drinks from schools and the front of package labeling. In countries such as Sweden, it is clearly documented that nutrition policies have had a positive outcome for their children. They have better health, better education, and income earning potential. As an association, the Pediatric Association of Jamaica welcomes and supports the implementation of the National School Nutrition Policy, Out of Schools, a framework that promotes and facilitates healthy eating habits and promotes physical activity in the nation's children. We call on all stakeholders present to ensure that this policy is successfully implemented. We commend and congratulate our partners and look forward to sharing in this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Natalie McBeal Beecher. You know, when you say, teacher say, my gosh, I can't tell my son anything. But Miss doesn't do it that way. Miss says, you know, I only saw a few hands raised. So only 5 of us have picnic go to school? One, let me see the hands again. Oh, okay, more hands up. Okay, so we have to start with our own canteens, yeah. And I heard Mrs. Carr, I should say, National Parenting Commission say, boy, we have to make food, healthy food sexy. And it's true. It's all about marketing. Anything on TikTok and YouTube, the kids say, that's how it goes. So we have to think about that 1 minute bite-sized content that's going to make healthy food sexy again, right? So we have work to do. So think about that. Let's get the think tank going. Out of Our Schools campaign, that is a hashtag. I am asking you, please, to take little snippets of today's proceedings, today's launch, and share it on your social media platforms. That's where the education begins. The hashtag is Out of Our Schools, hashtag Protect Our Children, hashtag What's in Our Food, with a question mark. And the other hashtag is Give Us Warning Labels. And please follow Heart Foundation JA on social media. Tag them, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to be exact. I now invite Mrs. Kay Morrish-Cook, Communication Officer, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, to give us an overview of this campaign.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm too short. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. I will now give you a brief overview of our Out of School mass media campaign. The campaign is to increase awareness of the harms of food high in sodium, saturated fats, and sugar, highlighting specific health outcomes like diabetes, hypertension, cavities, and heart disease. It also encourages policymakers, parents, guardians, the general public to support a school nutrition policy. And it is also a direct call for a comprehensive school nutrition policy that includes the removal of unhealthy foods and beverages from schools to help address the harms of foods high in sodium, fats, and sugar in the school environment. And this slide shows you the precursor to the campaign, which is our front of label warning campaign, which consistently reached between 78 and 84% of our target population over the phases of the last campaign, which focus, as I said, on front of package warning labels. We have now switched focus to the school nutrition policy as a priority because the timing is appropriate and supported of the government's intention to implement a school nutrition policy. Data from the Global Health School-Based Students Health Survey shows that 23.3% of Jamaican students aged 13 to 17 years are overweight or obese, and more than 66% of Jamaican adolescents 15 to 19 years consume fast food most days of the week. And more than 69% of our children aged 13 to 17 years drink carbonated soft drink 1 or more times per day. And when you put that all together, 80% of deaths are caused by NCDs. And 92% of Jamaicans we have surveyed support the front of package warning labels on food and diet in Jamaica. And our key messages are, as I said before, 23% of Jamaican children are overweight and obese. Get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools. Foods high in sodium, saturated fats, and sugars increase the risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension. And with that, I thank you, our co-branding partners, and we will now unveil the Out of Our School mass media campaign.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school, and now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less, or 2 or 3, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar, and sodium, it may reduce our risk of obesity, heart disease, and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Together, let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school, and now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less, or two or three, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar, and sodium, it may reduce our risk of obesity, heart disease, and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Together, let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Thank you so much. Can we acknowledge all the press, the videography team? Can we welcome them and thank them for capturing our best angles? I appreciate, love you. You know, Rasta say I can't say appreciate, you know, because we're not hate. Rasta in my blood. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the campaign video, and hopefully it'll be rinsed on television. Donnell and team, yeah? Do we have TV money? We're going to find it from the ministry or somebody. We need to get these messages out, and we have to speak the language of the audience, a target audience, which is the children. We're speaking to them, and animation is definitely the way. So congratulations on that campaign video, and let's get that everywhere in our schools. Now, let's welcome, on behalf of the minister, the Honorable Favor Williams, Dr. Cassandra Troop, CEO. What does that stand for, children? What does CEO stand for? You're no pickney. Christina, you're not a pickney. Okay. So yes, it stands for CEO. We have to educate the children in the room too, you know, because they're going to be CEOs in about 10 years. So we need to let them know what's going on and what these acronyms stand for. She is a Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education and Youth, and she will now deliver remarks. Let's welcome her.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Our Energizer Bunny. Can you keep up with our moderator? Certainly not. I want to be on that football team. Let me greet our specially invited guests, our Minister of Health, and our State Minister. Good to see you. I see Mrs. Chen, our Executive Director from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. Good morning to you. Ms. Cook, who just gave us the overview, good morning to you. Other specially invited guests and sponsors and supporters, it's indeed my pleasure to bring remarks on behalf of our Minister, Honorable Favor Williams, who is unable to be here this morning, but sends her love and appreciation, and she would not have me be anywhere else. In fact, I was at another function, which is why I'm late, and I got a call from the Minister, Dr. Troop, please stop everything that you're doing and please be present at this activity to demonstrate how important the message is for us to stand together and get the unhealthy foods out of our schools. So we stand with you, we endorse this campaign. You know, the education sector is said to be the only social structure that will touch majority of our children, if not all. We really would like to touch all, but we know some of the circumstances that work against us. But notwithstanding that, we have a platform, an opportunity to make it right for our boys and our girls, to make sure that they can make right decisions, to make sure that they have the skills to determine the way to go. That's the awesome opportunity we have. We have a platform to partner with our partners, our friends, our foundations, to get the message out, not only to our students, but to our parents, right? All the adults in the lives of our children, our teachers who are social entrepreneurs. They make the difference, and they have a powerful presence in the lives of the children. You heard it from the moderator, teachers say. That's a powerful statement. I got it as a mother, but God would have it, I'm a teacher too. So I would say, but I am a teacher too. Which teacher do you believe? But you know, children have a way of saying things. And my daughter and I, we were traveling home recently, and she said to me, Mommy, my friends envy me for loving water. And she said, thank you, Mommy, I never liked it. She said, thank you for ensuring that I drink water. We don't buy juices. Only when we're having guests. Somebody coming over, they know when somebody is coming over. They say, Mommy, I see juice in the fridge, what's happening? I say, we're having somebody over on the weekend. Because we have water with our meals. That was a struggle for me because I made some mistakes as a mother with my first child. And we had to go through some struggles to get him right. But I made sure I didn't make the same mistakes with my daughter. And she said to me, my friends envy me for loving water. So, Mommy, you got something right. And I said, that was deliberate. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be strong, and I want you to make good choices. And I'm happy you said that to me because it assures me that you are making the choice outside of my presence. And that's important because that's what we are enabling our children to do. So today signifies a very, very important moment when we are getting this campaign out in our schools, right in time as we are working with the Ministry of Health to get the policy ready, because you need something on which to stand. We have been working with the Ministry of Health, and we have done several consultations. We have the draft National School Nutrition Policy. It's now a green paper. We have to do the consultations, and I can assure you that with the help of the Ministry of Health, we have brought all our principals out. We have brought some teachers out to hear from them. We have brought the children out. We have brought the vendors out because they are critical. And I can tell you, they have expressed great support. They want to work with us. They understand why we are doing this. 23% of our children are obese. 66% of our students eat fast food at least once per week. And I think it's more because when I go home and when I'm in the traffic, I see all the fast food places filled, long lines, and I see more of them popping up all over the place. And it is something I practice. When I pass, I say to myself and my children, my grandmother would roll in her grave. Like on Sundays, I see the lines. And I say, what's happening here? And I said, Mommy, they're having fast. I said, Mommy, we can't. I said, no, not in this house, not in my cabinet. I could never take you guys. I'm not saying you can't have some ups and downs on a Sunday, but that's a family day. You cook and you sit with your family and you make sure you do a proper meal. You are on the run as professionals. But I just can't do it. My grandmother is still holding me back. But probably it's not her, it's about the choices that I'm making for myself and my children. So that's really what this campaign is about. How do we get our students fully aware of what is healthy and unhealthy? That's what this campaign is about. How do we get them to discriminate, to say no? How do we get them to get the vendors to stock the right things? And they are the ones who are going to champion that. So this campaign will build their capacity to do that. The policy will build the capacity of our leaders in our institutions to make the right decisions. It's not about profit. We are not running an economic organization as a school. We are running a social development entity. So it's not about raising money. It's not about money. It's about making sure our students have the skill set and the capacity to do what's right and to build this country. We are relying on them. So the Ministry of Education stands with you. We stand behind this campaign. You have our full support. We will complete this policy. We will roll it out. The legs will be there because we believe in what we have done as a country. We have ratified the Convention for the Rights of Our Children. We have passed the Child Care and Protection Act. We have been promulgating the rights under protection, provision, and participation. That's what this is all about. So we're standing behind policy already, and we're going to get it even further in our schools. So ladies and gentlemen, you can rest assured that our schools will get it right, and Jamaica will be better for this campaign and other activities to come. I bless you.
I was so caught up in what you were saying and the passion behind it, and I kept saying to myself, Lord, I'm not going to the fast food place on Sunday. Because anyhow, Dr. Troop say me, I'm say Empress, but I know you say we have to put things into action. You hypocrite. I was also checking my phone because I told you I was sleeping when the children were having breakfast at 6:30. And my husband made breakfast. So I was WhatsApping him to say, what did you give the children for breakfast? He's like, why? I said, just quickly, tell me. I need to know we're on the right path. So they had My daughter had porridge. But I think the cornmeal porridge is full of condensed milk. That's a problem. And then my son had an egg and bread and turkey bacon. We don't eat pork. So I don't know how healthy that is, but I'm a lot more conscious now about how much condensed milk goes in that porridge. Because you know them love the sweet, sweet. So we really need to be creative with the menus. So we need to have like these menus going out because everybody believes that healthy food is expensive. And I disagree. You know why? When COVID licked, and I went in my backyard and I planted and planted and planted and watered every morning and evening. And you have to recycle water too. So it's not NWC water, you know, understand recycle. That's a whole nother conversation. But I remember my children and I, my daughter and I went over the wall, a little piece of land there, a little plot, and we would pick the cucumber and just yam it right there, so. And it was healthy. And then we actually cooked it up with saltfish. That's not good for you to boil out the salt. Got to think about the slave food and how we redesign it and you know what I'm saying? Recreate these menus. But I'm saying we also have to talk about grow what you eat. Because, you know, I heard Vicente talking about local produce and things like that. We really can do it. Well, and we can't believe the lies. Because I'm telling you, when COVID hit, the amount of things I grew and picked, right? Callaloo for days. Spinach for days, that purple spinach. And my kids were loving it. Yeah, so to go and pick it themselves and go in the kitchen and cook. Yeah, and that's a whole new education there, measuring and all kind of things. I think we can do it. So let's dispel the myth that healthy food is expensive. You with me? Talking about the children. I was so caught up. I don't know where I put the program, people. Lady Cuthbert, you took my program? I'm sitting next to you. All right, we're moving now to a special item from our beautiful children. Lord have mercy, I have my notes here. I'm so excited about this event. So many things going on that my paper, Lady Cuthbert, you have my paper? It's Marvelly Primary and Infant School. I don't have it on my paper. But you're now going to give us a performance. Let's welcome them to the stage.
Healthy Lifestyle by Aquila Mattison.
That's me.
No man, oh that juice is so sweet. Me nah drink no more fit it. Rotten with teeth. All the chips ya full up a pear salt. Me nah eat no more fit it. Stop me heart. Healthy lifestyle we are promoting. Full time we have front table packaging. Healthy lifestyle we are promoting. Full time we have front Let us get unhealthy foods out of our schools.
Well done, Marvelly. Primary and infant school. And you wrote that poem, my lady? Well done. I tell you, we're full of talent in this country. Full of talent. And you know the people them learn from the songs, right? So I guess we need to produce that. I'm just coming up with ideas here. Execution is on somebody in the room. This should be a song that's played on radio every 5 minutes. Mandated by the government of Jamaica. You must play this. You must play that. Well done, children. And the little man who was so shy. Lord, him sweetie. Look on him cheeks. See? Children are sweet enough. Thank you. And now for the introduction of the guest speaker, I invite to do that. It's going to be Mrs. Jamaica Alexander Williamson, Advocacy Officer, Global Health Advocacy Project at the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. Let's welcome her.
Minister of State, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Dr. Cassan Troop, representing the Ministry of Education and Youth, Chief Education Officer, Dr. Serene Joseph Paho, representative, Mr. Vicente Terran, UNICEF, Dr. McNeil Beecher, President of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica, Dr. Suarez Winter, Clinical Nutritionist for Care, Dr. Brian James, Medical Association of Jamaica, all distinguished guests and partners, thank you for being here. Good morning. Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness, has held several portfolio ministries before becoming Minister of Health and Wellness, each of which he has served with dedication, zeal, and passion. Not to be outdone, Minister is also an author. His political memoir, State of Mind, Politics, Uncertainty, and the Search for the Jamaican Dream has received wide acclaim in Jamaica and the Jamaican diaspora in the United States. We here at the Heart Foundation of Jamaica see him as a strong supporter and ally, championing the call for the reduction of NCDs and supporting many of our policy initiatives, and for this, we are truly grateful. So, I invite you to put our hands together and give a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. Minister Tufton, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. And I want to commend you for that very brief introduction. Very efficient use of time. And I want to say to Madam Chairperson, Empress, you sure you never had some sugary drink this morning? You're bursting with energy. Because I know you, I know that's how you are. I believe you that you didn't. Thank you very much for that. And let me just recognize so many organizations that are here. Of course, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, Dr. Troop representing my colleague minister and the Ministry of Education, UNICEF, PAHO, can I say all the organizations that are here? Let me be as efficient as the introduction. So, you know, I've kind of abandoned my script because so many speeches that could be classified. Oh, my colleague minister in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Minister Cuthbert Flynn, how could I not mention you? Good to have you and your support as usual. I see the president of the Nurse Association of Jamaica to the back. Why are you so far, Madam President? Good to see you. And good to see that you're a part of this initiative. So I was saying that I am like the third main speaker in this event. And if you consider all the other speeches that have been given, I think the clinical reasons justifying this very important campaign out of our schools, led by the Heart Foundation, but supporting agencies. And I said to Debbie earlier, please make room to add the Ministry of Health and Wellness on the promotional material, because we need to embrace and endorse in a very visible way this out of our schools campaign. So we won't allow the Ministry of Education to outdo us in that regard. No, it's not a competition. It's a unified approach. So a lot has been said about why this is important. So it's impatient of debate. And I think for all intents and purposes, the real challenge now is how do we move the process forward and to do so effectively, because talk, as they say, can be cheap. It is in the doing that we have the impact. And even in a mass campaign such as this one, which I am sure will be effectively implemented, and there are resources behind it, reach is almost guaranteed, that at some point in time we'll all see the ads. It's about the impact and how that public education, that message around persuasion and behavioral change and policy and the enforcement of policy actually finds its place in the doing on the ground in the schools and hopefully beyond. So that's really where we are. So I want to start by placing on record, as others have done, my commendations around the campaign and those who are involved in it, those who are financing it, those who have developed. I want to recognize what I think is one of the most fundamental pieces of policy legislation around health and wellness. And if we get it right, we are going to start a trend for the better. And that is our school nutrition policy. I celebrate that process that took place last year into this year with the Ministry of Education, with other stakeholders, when that green paper was tabled, when the various discussions took place. I've been involved in several of them. The turnout and the participation of parents, the schools, the administrators, the cafeteria owners and operators, it was, to my mind, an overwhelming demonstration that there was interest and that there was a willingness to, in the first instance, listen, learn, and to engage in a way that is willing to participate in making this change. I think it's amazing. And the reason why I say it is one of the most fundamental pieces of policy and hopefully over time legislation is that it is really where we have to start. Because if you examine the health profile of our population, and we do a lot of it, and I want to recognize my Ministry of Health colleagues over there, Dr. Spence, Dr. Tamu Davison, and the others. We are in a crisis which, if we were to be blunt, there is actually a lost generation around that crisis. A cohort of citizens who unfortunately will have to spend the rest of their lives trying to make themselves as comfortable as they can, but will never be the same in terms of their health profile, being healthy, in terms of their productivity, in terms of the time that they can spend with their family and friends. Yesterday I visited the Spanish Town Hospital to recognize and to appreciate some additional dialysis machines that were purchased, brand new machines, really state of the art. And that is worth some encouraging news for that institution because the demand is heavy and we need the additional machines. But I also spent some time talking to the persons who were actually on the machines, persons who are in 5th stage renal failure. A lot of it as a result of complications from hypertension and diabetes. I'm not a clinician, by the way, I just read the brief. But there are many of them here, you can validate what I've just said. And if you look at just that one case of what is required from someone, and there are approximately 40,000 Jamaicans, I'm told, who are close to 5th stage renal failure, maybe 80,000 who are at 4th stage. This is what I'm told by the researchers. And you examine how they have to live in a typical week. Ideally, 3 times on a machine for probably 3 hours at a time. More often than not, 2, because they can't afford 3. And by doing it 2, the quality of life is significantly further compromised. The longevity of life, there's almost a predictability that without a kidney transplant, their expiration date can be defined, to put it in harsh statistical terms. And you can only conclude that when you get to that stage, for all intents and purposes, your productive life years have come to an end. Because you're not going to be able to optimize your full potential, if I were to put it in those terms. Now, I could say the same for someone who has detected cardiovascular-related disease, blocked arteries. Sorry. This is my speech. I jotted it down a while ago. And all the other critical categories of illness. Now, the interesting fact about this is that for a very large percentage of those persons, particularly who are suffering these ailments before the 70 years, life expectancy, or 74 for men, 76 or 77 for women, is that if there was behavioral change in terms of how we operated within our environment, consumption, exercise, rest, all the critical things that make up a healthier lifestyle, many of these ailments would either not occur or occur at a point when life expectancy expects that we will get to that stage. And that's a fundamental thing that we're trying to address. Now, how you bring that back to the nutrition policy and the accolades I have ascribed to it. The truth is, there is almost a lost generation where the horse has bolted, gone through the gate. The most we can do now is build out hospital beds to give them a sense of comfort. It's a tragic way to look at it, but it is the reality. But our children still have hope of a better life, a fulsome life, a productive life, a life that has a better probability of existing up until that 70, 75 or beyond. In a sense, if you look at it like that, we almost as adults have a duty, a burden, a responsibility to give them the best possible chance to fulfill that lifelong experience. And so it is impatient of debate. We shouldn't even be campaigning. We should just say, this is the way we have to go. We know the world don't work like that, right? There are stakeholder interests that may see things differently. So I think that where we are with the school nutrition policy, supported by campaigns such as this, will now hopefully bring to the fore the kind of conversation as to why our children deserve this opportunity, why we have an obligation to give it to them. And we use that logic and justification with all the clinical evidence and the emotional appeal to say this is not a campaign around restriction. It's not a campaign around restriction because it almost pitches one group of people against another. It pitches stakeholder interests who wants freedom to express their creative talents in the form of products with those who say those products are not allowed. The real issue is that it is a campaign around proper nutrition. And I believe there is a bigger cell because every single one of us represents a parent, whether fostering or maternal. And I believe that emotional appeal around wanting the best for your child by giving them the best nutrition is perhaps the most substantial message that we can advance to those who may be thinking otherwise. And so the real challenge ahead now is that we have the framework. how do we get people to understand what needs to be done? And that's why we look forward, Dr. Troop, to working with the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health that is, to sort out issues around nutrition guidelines, you know, how the chefs or the cooks or the canteen operators prepare the meals, the menu guides, which we're working on. Look forward to working with the Ministry of Agriculture around Eat What You Grow and Grow What You Eat, and the school gardens and the 4-H clubs. Look forward to the appeal to parents about what they pack in their lunch pans to give the kids an opportunity. Look forward to the kind of guidance that you give, that water is always more nutritious, and we should feel the nutrients when we drink water. Because that conversation must now become part of our psychic, and it must center around giving our children the best possible opportunity for long life, quality of life, and that is a critical observation for us. So I look forward to being a part of the campaign, being one of the spokespersons for the campaign along with the rest of the team. And I've always tried to do that. But I also look forward to all of us being advocates, both here and out there. Everyone who represents an adult being part of this advocacy. And then it makes it easy, because what it means is that it changes the entire environment in which we operate. My final few points are that no single act will create the transformation that we require. And we have recognized that in health and as a government, and so we have been pursuing a range of measures, again, to shift the goalposts, to create a more health-seeking set of parameters, so it's easier to lead a healthy life. We have advanced fairly substantially, for example, on the trans fat elimination agenda, industrialized trans fats. I won't go into the technical explanations of that, but long and short of it is, it's one of the primary causes of cardiovascular disease, and the elimination of that out of our food groups is very critical. What is good about that is that we have had several consultations, and industry have agreed verbally to working over a number of years for the elimination in our food systems. And indeed, we are now about to form a joint stakeholder committee to plan for that elimination over the next couple of years. That's going to be very substantial. We have tobacco legislation that's coming. We're hoping to table the final bill in the Parliament, and hopefully this year we'll pass that. Again, enforcement, education is going to be key, so we're going to build a campaign around that. We have coming up soon, almost complete, a green paper on alcohol abuse policy. Now, you notice I say alcohol abuse, right? Because I'm practical. I don't take the extreme view that, you know, people are not going to consume a little alcohol now and then. Indeed, as you say, I would be a hypocrite if I said that, right? But alcohol consumption and alcohol abuse is a significant player in some of these premature mortality and the illness that many of us suffer from. And we're advancing that. So this year you're going to see a discussion around that, and then hopefully the nutrition policy will become white paper and then official policy in the not too distant future. I understand that the consultants are now working on that. So in terms of the way forward, I think this represents the best possible time for us as a country to set an agenda and to engage in a conversation and to do, not just to talk, but to do something about the very clear signs, the risks that we are now encountering as it relates to health and wellness. I also think, finally, that given the experiences of COVID, and I keep referring back to COVID, that COVID was a seismic shift in the way people view themselves, their mortality. Because I say to people every day, you probably hear this 10 times, the minister is always around me when I'm speaking. COVID, for me, was the greatest equalizer to humanity. Because no matter where you live and how much money you have, at some point during the COVID experience, every single one of us was fearful that it would have taken us out. And a lot of what is happening now in terms of the rethink of how people work, where they work, why they work, how much time off they need, is because they came so close to confronting their own mortality that they have had a different perspective on life in a post-COVID environment. I remember a doctor who almost died from COVID, and after he came out of the hospital, he went and bought a Range Rover. I said, boy, I said, what happened? He said, listen, man, you know, if I went and bought a Range Rover, I'll be there to die, I'll never get one. Realizing his potential, right? Quickly, because he doesn't know what tomorrow brings. So that is fertile ground for us to get some of these things done. And so I will encourage us, as I take my seat, to be bold, not just in campaigning through formal media and through sessions like these, but be bold in calling for action and being advocates, all of us, to get these things done. Because not only is it good for us, who may still have a chance to see the 70, if you define it biblically, but it's also an obligation and a duty that we have, in this case, for the children. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Minister. The menu guide. Anybody got a good menu idea today? Now, there's an accountability meter, and I know you all didn't know this was going to happen to you today. But as of today, you all have to check in to a WhatsApp group and post what you give your children for breakfast every morning, what you pack in their lunch pan, and what you give them for dinner. Can we all commit to that, parents? Anybody want to commit to that? Yeah? No? Okay. All right, that's not going to work. Yeah, I'm saying it's like, oh, we're working out. You need somebody to, work out with you and keep you accountable for what you commit to. So I'm here to keep you accountable, and you can keep me accountable for giving my children a healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right? So we'll check in and start that group if you're with me. Who's with me? Yeah. And as Mrs. Carr said, we need the children to be promoting it and making it sexy. So all the children at Marvelly Primary and Infant School, make sure you all have healthy lunch, okay? And tell your parents about healthy food, okay? It's good for you, okay? Oh, God, I love them. You say yes, miss. May I not miss me? I not teach as my children say, Mommy, you don't know how to do that. That's not how Miss said it should be done. So let me just be quiet and move to the vote of thanks. Miss Rosanna Pike will deliver that. She is the Health Education Officer, Global Health Advocacy Project at the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. Let's welcome her.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like that. Y'all sound hungry. Are we okay? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. All right, so I'm no empress. So I don't have all that zeal and thing, but I have a little style, all right? And we're going to see that it coming out later on, all right? So this is my royal courtyard, and that's the theme of my vote of thanks. All right, so Dr. the Honorable Minister Christopher Tufton, Dr. Kassan Troop, Dr. Serene Joseph, Mr. Vicente Terran, Mrs. Deborah Chen, Dr. Brian James, who is online with us, Dr. Natalie McNeil Beecher, Dr. Susan Suarez Winter, Mrs. Shanique Rose, our Chair Empress Golding, our most valued invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to you all. On behalf of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and the Global Health Advocacy Project Food Policy Program, our stakeholders, partners, and well-wishers, I would like to take this opportunity for us to raise our swords in hail of the Knights of the Round Table for being here with us today as we launch the first phase of our mass media campaign out of our schools as we advocate for an effective food policy environment, in this case, healthy school food environments that support healthy nutrition for children. We would first like to recognize and pay respect to our first knight, Dr. the Honorable Minister Christopher Tufton, who has honored us with his invaluable time to grace this occasion and his unfaltering support as we continue to coordinate our actions in combating the rise of NCDs in Jamaica. To one of probably the first set of lady knights any of us would have ever met or known, Dr. Kazan Troop, please accept our sincere gratitude for your support of this campaign and our efforts in undertaking this mission of importance. Our heartfelt gratitude goes out to Vicente Terran for enlightening us with his commendable talk and encouraging us with his humble presence and good wishes. We would like to also place on record our deepest appreciation to Dr. Natalie McNeil Beecher. Your kind remarks will go a long way in encouraging us to persevere on our mission to create healthier generations. I would also like to take this opportunity to raise the Excalibur in hail of Mrs. Deborah Chen and the Heart Foundation of Jamaica for their continued leadership in educating and advocating for policies geared towards the reduction of obesity and related NCDs in Jamaica, as well as for providing information and screening opportunities to Jamaicans, enabling them to live and maintain healthy lifestyles. A special thanks to the organizations that have co-branded with us in this effort: the Ministry of Education and Youth, the Pan American Health Organization, UNICEF Jamaica, the Pediatric Association of Jamaica, the Medical Association of Jamaica, the Caribbean Institute of Health Research, and the Jamaica Association of Professionals in Nutrition and Dietetics, and we look forward to the Ministry of Health and Wellness joining us on this effort. Your added chance of courage will go a long way in getting our message out and understood by our people. To our chair, Mrs. Empress Golding, a big thank you for gracing us with your vivaciousness, never missing a beat, and ensuring everything flowed so smoothly. You acquitted yourself admirably, and thank you once again for a job well done. To the students of the Marvelly Primary and Infant and their teacher, who is also a JCDC award-winning recipient for drama, music, and writing, Miss Aquila Mattison, a mighty cheer for a super performance that we all thoroughly enjoyed. Ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The chariots and carriages began loading months ago. It required planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues, namely Miss Donnell Christian, Patrick Champagne, Susan Fox, Eileen Lewis, Michael Gonzalez, and last but not least, our own GHAP team led by our very own wizardess, Mrs. Barbara McGaw. And as I said, it's a royal theme, and we know the Knights of the Round Table, they're not complete without their very own Merlin, right? So well done, team. To the team from Play Media, Bumblebee, and other members of the media who displayed evincing interest in covering this event, and all the good hearts who worked behind the screen with us, we thank you. To the staff of the Spanish Court Hotel for the logistical support extended to us, we also appreciate you. Finally, I want to once again state that we're grateful to all our knights who spoke, not only for their words of support, but for their organization's backing of this campaign. We thank you for our virtual audience for being with us this morning. It's been a great pleasure. So, with our chariots loaded, our steeds well fed, and our swords of ambition and fervor sharp and shining bright, let's take the charge and go forth on this mission to get unhealthy foods out of our schools. So onward, my soldiers, let's carry on. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosanna Pike. I must say that's probably the best vote of thanks I've heard in the past couple years. I am telling you, she put thought into it. You're a creative writer, I can see. She'll soon come from a job. I guess I won't be here next year for the next campaign. Just lost my work. But that's okay. Pass the baton. Soldier! However you do. Yes. Trust me, one of the best voter things. And I host a lot of events, yeah? Well done. So she's a health education officer, and I know when she goes out there on the front line delivering the education messages to our children, she'll be doing it in a very creative way that tells a story that they will never forget, alongside the Marvelly group, who can put it in dub poetry. Aquila, you ready? You guys are going to work together. All right, love that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's press launch. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us online. We have a lot of work to do, yeah? We're brilliant with ideas, but sometimes it's the execution. So we have to really commit to this advocacy and check in on each other. What did you give your child for breakfast? Where you get him? And I hope I won't see any of you at the fast food locations for Sunday dinner. All right, I'm going to hold you accountable. I have cameras at every location. And if I see you at the fast food with your kids, Dr. Troop, on Sunday where you should be cooking up Sunday dinner, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to post it on Twitter. You know, we're the TikTok and Twitter generation. Well, not me, them, the Gen Z, but I work with them. So we're going to call you out. Thank you so much for being here for the Out of Our Schools Mass Media campaign launch. We are going to now ask the Heart Foundation team behind the scenes to bring up some of our partners for a moment on stage where we can capture this story of change that we're going to see in the next few years. All right? So I'm going to ask them to come up, and then we're going to mingle a little bit. And please visit the booth to the right. All right? Make sure you get each other's number. Again, I'm Empress Golding, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to guide today's proceedings. Bless you all.